Hello, in this video we're going to be using the graphing calculator to find the maximum of a function using the second calc maximum feature of the graphing calculator. More specifically, we'll be graphing a quadratic function, which is a parabola, and then finding the vertex of the parabola, which will be the maximum point on our graph. So specifically, the steps required to do that is we're going to enter the function to be graphed, we'll set the viewing window and graph the function, and then we'll see how to use the second calc maximum feature of the graphing calculator to find the maximum point on the graph, which is also finding the vertex of the parabola. So I've brought up the graphing calculator screen, and you can see the graphing calculator on the left. And so the first thing I'm doing is I had to press y equals to get here, so I'll just press that again. So you go into the function editor, y equals, and then we need to enter our graph. And so that's going to be negative. Remember to use the minus key for negative numbers on the bottom of the graphing calculator. So hit the minus, and then 2900. This is our function. And then our x variable here to the right of the alpha button in green. And then the squared function over here. And then we're going to add 7450x. And then we're going to subtract 2500. Here I'm using the subtraction button since I'm subtracting two numbers. I don't want to use the negative button in this case. So be careful with those two buttons, and I'm just going to press enter. Now, as far as the window goes, we know that the function, the applicable domain from the problem that we were solving, was about from 0 to about 2.8. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that as a beginning point. So under my window here, I'm going to type a 0 for x. These are our prices now for our function. And then I think I'll go to 2.8. And then I'll use an increment of about 0.2. You could use 0.5 or even 1 if you wanted. Now again, I could enter y values here based on my preceding work, or I can just let the graphing calculator fit the window around my function based on the x scale from 0 to 2.8. So I'm going to go ahead and use that feature. So to do that, I'm going to press the zoom button here on the top. And then I'm going to scroll down to basically number 10, which is also going to appear as a 0, and that's called zoom fit. And so that's going to have the calculator fit the window for me. So I'm going to press enter. And so here's my profit function as a function of price. Of course, the negative profit just means I'm losing money. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to actually find this maximum point on the graph, and I also want to make one couple adjustments to my window. So I'm going to first, before I find the maximum, let me go back here. So I don't need to go to negative 4,300. I'll just go from minus 4,000. So I usually do this and make a couple of just basic adjustments. And 2284 is very specific. Why don't we just graph to 2500? And an increment of 0.5 is going to put too many ticks along the y-axis, so maybe we'll use a tick mark of 100. So we'll go in increments of 100. And then we'll take a look at the graph again here. Okay, so I'm happy with this window. So my goal here is to find this maximum point on the graph. So for that, let's go ahead and find that. So to do this, now you could hit the trace button and then move the arrows to try to trace to the max, but the value you get isn't often accurate enough for our purposes. So I'm going to actually have the calculator find this value for me. So to do that, I'm going to hit the second button here on the left, and then above the trace key, you'll see in blue it says calc. That's also labeled as F4. So I'm going to hit second calc. And then I'm going to scroll down here to item 4 for maximum. If you're trying to find a minimum, you would choose minimum. And I'm going to press enter. Okay, now the cursor is blinking. It's asking me for a left bound here. So I want the cursor to be positioned to the left of the maximum. So for that, I'm going to use the left arrow key until the cursor is clearly to the left of the peak point on the graph. So I'm just going to keep pressing to the left. That's clearly to the left. Okay, so I'm going to press the enter to set the left bound. It's asking me to set. All right, so I'm going to press enter. So the calculator can't figure out where the maximum is. It needs your help. So all I'm doing is helping my calculator. So it knows what interval to look in to find the maximum. So off to the right. And as soon as you're sure you're to the right of the maximum, just press enter again. So now I'm setting the right bound. And it asks me to put a guess. I don't need to do anything more. You could position the cursor closer to the maximum to help the calculator, or you can just press enter a third time, which is what I'll do. And so you can see the calculator's found the maximum point. This is also called, since this graph is a graph of a quadratic function, this is called the vertex. And the x value of the vertex, which in this case is my price, is about $1.28. And then the maximum profit associated with that price on my profit function is 2284.6. If we round this to the nearest dollar, this would be 2284.70. That would be our maximum profit. And that's what we were trying to do. So we use the calculator to find the maximum, and during a test and other things, this ability of the calculator to do this can be very helpful and useful. And that completes this video.